Controversy surrounds a series of explosions in the Russian city of Belgorod. Moscow says Ukraine striked the city, while Kyiv says it was due to a stray Russian missile. Tensions over a possible Russian nuclear strike in Ukraine increase, as Western leaders warned that such action would have a robust response.
The US Congressional Committee investigating the January 6th riot subpoenas former President Donald Trump to testify under oath.
Moscow claims that this apartment block in the Russian city of Belgorod was attacked by Ukrainian artillery not far away across the border. Ukraine, however, says that this is not true and that it was the result of a Russian missile headed for Kharkiv that went awry. It comes just a day after Russia was condemned by the Council of Europe. Ukrainian President Zelensky said, "We also have a powerful response from the Council, which is the first international organization to designate the current regime in Russia as terrorist. It's very important that this is a political signal, a signal to all the states, members of the Council of Europe and all states of the world, that there is nothing to talk about with this terrorist group, which appropriated Russia and unleashed the most heinous war in Europe in 80 years. After 7 months of occupation, this area in Kherson region has recently been liberated by Ukraine. Russia has been losing ground here in recent days. The Moscow-appointed chief of the area says that they will begin evacuating civilians from Kherson city as the fighting slowly approaches. But the Kremlin is not giving up without a fight. Strikes continue across the country, like here in Velika Kostromka in the south of Ukraine. In the latest round of attacks, an 11-year-old boy has died in hospital after being rescued from the rubble in the town of Mykolaiv. Kyiv's Western allies are talking tough against the possibility of a nuclear strike against Ukraine. Russian President Vladimir Putin has hinted that the use of nuclear weapons is not out of the question. The EU has made it clear, though, that the response would be robust.
Any nuclear attack against Ukraine will create an answer. Not a nuclear answer, but such a powerful answer from the military side that the Russian army will be inoculated, and Putin should not be bluffing.
NATO has also warned that it will not be intimidated by Russia and takes its threats seriously.
President Putin's nuclear rhetoric is dangerous and irresponsible. We take these threats seriously, and we remain vigilant. We will not be intimidated. Any use of nuclear weapons would fundamentally change the nature of the conflict and have severe consequences.
The US is by far the largest power in NATO. It says Russia is upping the ante and not the alliance.
Irresponsible and reckless rhetoric is dangerous. And so as we've witnessed nuclear saber rattling, we don't think that's very helpful. And again, it's dangerous. NATO, again, does not pose any threat to Russia.
The possibility of nuclear conflict in Ukraine has forced Western leaders to talk tough. If it comes to pass, they may have to act tough too.
The US House Committee investigating the Capitol Hill riot on January 6, 2021 has subpoenaed Donald Trump to testify under oath. The panel voted unanimously to compel the former president to appear, calling him January 6th's central player. In recent days, the committee has presented documents detailing Trump's role in the efforts to overturn his 2020 election loss. At least 5 people died during the attack. More than 850 people have since been charged in connection with the riot.
A jury in Florida spared the life of Parkland school shooter Nicholas Cruz, the perpetrator of one of the deadliest school shootings in U.S. history. Last year, Cruz pleaded guilty to premeditated murder. After 3 months of hearings, the jury recommended a life sentence without the possibility of parole. Families of the victims were visibly distraught when it became clear the death penalty would not be requested. Despite the aggravating circumstances of the case, the jury took into account mitigating factors, such as mental problems resulting from his mother's substance abuse during pregnancy. On the 14th of February 2018, Nicholas Cruz walked into his former high school before killing 14 students, 3 school employees and wounding 17 others. The massacre stunned the nation and sparked student movements and nationwide marches in support for stricter gun control, which organisers say were among the largest of their kind in US history.
And you think we are love your kids, hold your kids, kiss your kids?
No let-up in the French fuel crisis as striking employees at Esso, ExxonMobil and Total Energies oil refineries continue their blockade. On Thursday, the government placed further requisitions on personnel, ordering a number of strikers at a Total Energies oil depot near Dunkirk back to work. A similar order targeted an Esso ExxonMobil site in Normandy earlier in the week. These demands have triggered the anger of the CGT Labour Union, which is calling for a one-day general strike to defend wages.
While they're making huge profits, the oil companies, in particular Total and Exxon, are refusing to meet the demands of the massively mobilised employees. The latest demand is that bosses provide salaries in line with inflation and better distribute the profits created by workers. However, billions of euros in dividends have been paid to shareholders.
The situation is particularly critical in the Paris and Hauts-de-France regions, where altercations between motorists queuing at the pump have increased. In some places, security guards have been deployed to maintain order. French President Emmanuel Macron says he expects the situation at filling stations will improve in the middle of next week.
In Italy, 7 physicians quit their hospital jobs every day, and the majority of these work in emergency rooms. Difficult working conditions, poor organization, long hours, low pay, a deadly mix of factors is overshadowing the attraction for this area of medicine, which was much sought after in the past by young doctors seeking an exciting, fast-paced role with unique learning opportunities.
This year, like last year, saw almost 50% of positions in emergency medicine stay vacant, but many of those who fill these positions eventually decide to leave. In these conditions, the ER physicians will soon be a rare commodity.
Forget ER or Grey's Anatomy. The stark reality of hospital emergency rooms in Italy contrasts sharply with the ones depicted on TV screens. Young ER doctors seem impatient to go elsewhere, to other hospital wards, to other cities, or even abroad, wherever they feel they can get the respect they desire as physician.
Angela Mauro is a pediatrician who, after 4 years of work in an emergency room in Naples, decided to move to Milan and to a different hospital unit.
Since I left the emergency room, my quality of life and work changed completely in terms of stress and satisfaction. Now I can actually study my patients, and that means treating and curing them in the best possible way. This is satisfying for physicians.
One of the issues is people's perception of ERs and the absence of appropriate filtering for treatment. Nowadays, people tend to go to ERs for a mild fever or other minor conditions.
ER should deal with actual emergencies, with life-threatening cases, patients with severe conditions that family doctors could not see. Unfortunately, this is one of the reasons of dissatisfaction in ER physicians.
Along with the pay issue, there is the matter of professional recognition and a problem exacerbated by COVID: work-life balance.
Beyond each physician, there's a human being, and nowadays we don't have that time. The time to be fathers, mothers, grandparents and friends. Working hours are not respected anymore. We should work 38 hours per week, but according to our last survey, we average 65 hours per week.
Despite everything, the hard work of hospital doctors and nurses is still the main point of contact between people and the public health service. Luca Palamara for Euronews, Napoli.